Hello Internet, I'm Hugo.
And I am Jake.
And this is Unpopular Culture, and today we're here to look at one of the most anticipated trailers for next year, and that is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Now, I think both of us going into any DC movies recently we've been a little trepidatious, I think. You're not terribly fond of Man of Steel. I look past most of its issues because it's hard to find a good Superman movie in general because he's the hardest character to do. So for this, I'm really looking forward to it, especially because new Batman, more comic book oriented Batman away from the old Dark Knight thing we got going on.
I'm excited for this movie, I'll say that, because I think the version of Batman they're doing is going to be good. But with that said, I will say this trailer seems like they kind of threw it together after the Civil War trailer came out, and they're like, we need another trailer. So, well, I think the individual scenes are interesting. It feels like some of the scenes, and that as a trailer, this doesn't necessarily reflect upon the film, but the trailer itself is a little disjointed. But still, beat for beat, I do like some of the things I'm seeing, so I'm excited to talk about it.
It's hard for me to use the word disjointed while critiquing a trailer because that's exactly what they all are.
Well, not necessarily.
So it's a weird... No, I've heard that, though. Like, you're not the first person to tell me that the trailer was weird. I even heard someone bitch about the soundtrack in the trailer, which seems absurd. I don't understand any of that sort of critique. What you're supposed to do is look at it, what they give you is what you get, and then hopefully later on we get a well-put-together film.
But anyway, enough talking about the general trailer. We should probably just do it. But I will warn you, if you haven't seen this trailer yet, you probably should go see it. But if you don't want any spoilers, don't watch this, because honestly, this kind of basically gives you a plot outline beat for beat, which is what a lot of trailers do, but some people are super against that. So if you don't want to know the basic plot outline and then kind of a secret, don't watch this. But without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out.
That's him right there. There he is. Let's get a shot.
Who's that?
So I like that we have Bruce Wayne driving himself, number one. And he's not like doing this Playboy thing that they tried to pull off with the Christian Bale flicks, where he was like faking it. This one seems like he's been doing this for a while. He's aged a bit. He's definitely a veteran of the Batman cowl. And, of course, the only way to put them in the same room together without the costumes on is to have him be a reporter reporting on something,
yeah,
right?
That's pretty standard. I'm not shocked by that at all. I do agree with you on the Bruce Wayne thing. I always thought the Michael Keaton Batman Bruce Wayne, that was my favorite film Bruce Wayne as of yet. I think this one will probably beat it, but something about the Christian Bale one, it always felt like Christian Bale playing Batman. It never felt like Bruce Wayne. It felt like he was trying too hard to be crazy billionaire playboy. It felt super forced. It felt like people even in the DC universe probably would have been like, he's trying really, really hard.
You must be new. That is Bruce Wayne.
I like how he looks. Like, a lot of people had this Affleck phobia because of that one time he made that bad movie with Jennifer Lopez. But since that point, pretty much, and I'm pretty sure Daredevil came out before that or right around that time, he's been a really, really solid professional actor and director and writer. So I'm not worried about it. And when you look at him, it's like the opposite of what Christian Bale's effect was. It looks like Bruce Wayne, who happens to be being played by Ben Affleck, not the other way around, right?
Yeah, I'd agree. I like him. He looks gruff. Something about Christian Bale was always too clean and attractive, you know what I mean? He looks like the character he played in American Psycho, basically. He's a very clean-cut, very attractive-looking man, whereas this version of Batman looks much more like he's been doing it for years.
He looks a little tired.
Yeah, he looks tired. I believe that this is a person who's been fighting crime for like 10 or 15 years, and also during his days he's been pretending to be this CEO billionaire. I believe it. He looks like a tired person, but also a very driven person. I can see it. It's not a facade anymore. He has his shit together. He knows when to be Bruce Wayne, and he knows when to be Batman, and he knows the difference. Whereas Christian Bale was just starting out.
And I also think it's very important to nail down the fact that these are two different Batmen that we're dealing with between the Nolan flicks and now. The Nolan flicks was like, what if Batman? And this is like true to the comics. He's going to be a detective. he's doing comic book-esque combat where he's like flying through the air with his grappling hook and doing stuff and like making a bat suit specifically to fight Superman. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be we've never seen this kind of Batman on film.
Mr. Wayne, Clark Kent, Daily Planet.
What's your position on the Bat Vigilante in Gotham?
But this is what I'm talking about with the tone of the trailer, because you have
I get it.
It basically plots out the exact character relationship they're going to have for the whole movie, and it's kind of disjointed. Because here you can see it obviously starts fairly confrontational, which makes sense, and I'm glad it does. But by the end, they're cracking jokes at each other, which is the progression that makes sense, and it is what was going to happen anyway. It's just weird to see it in the span of like 2 minutes. But
well, I don't think that's really an issue once you're in the film itself, because this is about the beginning of the Justice League. It's not about them. People keep thinking it's going to be Batman fighting Superman for like an hour and a half. That's probably going to be 10 minutes. Most of it's going to be Bruce Wayne v. the shit that happened when Superman did his thing last. You know what I mean?
I think so too, but I think that's probably going to disappoint a lot of people. I'm excited for this movie either way. I think from the acting alone, I think it looks like it's going to be a very solid character piece on both the characters and the formation of the league in general, but some people are going to be expecting this drag-out fight that's going to be, 20, 30 minutes long, and they're going to be disappointed. Then again, maybe they shouldn't have called the movie Batman v Superman if they weren't going to have a whole movie like that.
Well, I think it is, but I don't think Batman v Superman necessarily means combat the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, it's Batman versus the idea of Superman and the destruction that he caused in the past and all the fallout from that, and then eventually an actual fight, like, and then the dawn of justice. You know what I mean?
I get what you're
think
saying.
the title makes sense.
I agree with you. I'm not saying I disagree. I just can already hear the message boards. I can hear them.
With their clickety-clacketiness. The type of people that are expecting a Superman v Batman fight for 45 minutes are the type of people that like Jurassic World. Oh, snap.
Can I also just say that in that moment at the end of that, when he says that and Bruce Wayne gives a smirk, that's such a Batman thing, and that's something that I think was missing from Christian Bale Batman. Christian Bale Batman was usually pretty serious, and sometimes he had a knowing look. But in this look, I see Bruce Wayne. I see a Bruce Wayne who is control of the situation and knows, I'm Batman, fuck you. It's pretty great.
No, I really like that. And maybe some people don't know. A lot of people bitch about, like, Batman versus Superman shouldn't even happen. Superman should murder him instantly. I mean, on the one hand, yes, absolutely. But you'll see, even in this trailer, Superman's like, no, I'm holding back. I could kill you in a second. I don't want to. But also, Batman has a contingency for every, like, superhuman that exists, always. Because he's the guy that's, like, 7 steps ahead of everyone else. So it's not inconceivable for this version of Batman to be able to do that. If it was Christian Bale Batman, I mean, the dude was crippled after a night of hard work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, this is not the same thing. I think we have to eliminate our old expectations and just go into this knowing comic book Batman.
Civil liberties are being trampled on in your city.
I really like this shot, and this is like the second or third time we've seen it, but I like that he's not a hero in Gotham necessarily.
Yeah, I always like the Batman version that's more of a vigilante that people don't know that much about. I love mysterious Batman. Like, there's always a point at which you have to broach the everyone knows that Batman is a thing and just a guy in a suit because of the Justice League, usually. Yeah. But I always prefer mysterious, the public doesn't understand Batman. Makes the brooding make a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Also the solitary confinement he puts himself in, pretty much.
Yeah.
People living in fear. He thinks he's above the law.
I like this because he branded the dude.
Yeah.
Which shows that, like, Batman will torture a guy.
See, that's why I like this too. I couldn't see Christian Bale Batman doing that at all, because it always felt like he was trying to do the right thing and he was trying to
always
be
altruistic.
Yeah, morally right all the time. This version of Batman, don't get me wrong, he's still Batman. He's about justice, but it's more like dark justice. Like, he doesn't care. He's okay with hurting people a little bit and sending a message in sort of a twisted way, honestly.
Yeah.
The Daily Planet criticizing those who think they're above the law is a little hypocritical. What'd you say?
That's such a great line because I assume neither of them knows each other's secret identity.
Probably not at this point, no.
And even though Batman is like the world's greatest detective, still Superman was only a thing for like a day. You know what I mean? And then he's doing some random heroics, as he'll mention. But I like that they're both talking about each other without knowing it and giving their blunt, honest opinions of each other before ever knowing that it's them.
I also like that Batman's not wrong. This kind of undercuts
Absolutely.
part of the whole conflict is that, are they really that different? What is the difference between them and how they operate? And does it make a difference that they operate differently? At the end of the day, they're both taking the law into their own hands. Does it matter if you're doing it at night in secret or if you're doing it during the day as a symbol of hope? Either way, you're kind of removing normal, everyday people from the justice system. I don't know. It's interesting, and I hope we have a little bit more of this conversation in the movie and it isn't just glossed over.
Right, and I absolutely like the idea that one is out in the open, like you saw a statue right there of Superman out in the open days, the white knight. I mean, he's a good-looking white dude from Kansas. And then you have Batman dressed all in black, brooding, works with fear and not hope. I love the dichotomy of it, and I'm glad they're exploring it, which means that I think the writers put some sort of thought into it. We're not just going to get a fun summertime beat 'em up, you know what I mean?
Considering every time your hero saves a cat out of a tree, you read a puff piece editorial about an alien who could burn the whole place down.
I like that we get that thought from him that could burn the whole place down, meaning the world, showing how much Bruce Wayne / Batman really considers him a threat.
Yeah.
Like, he's legitimately scared. A guy that generally has everything under control is like, yeah, but don't you people understand? Like, what if he just has a bad day?
He's not wrong either, especially if Injustice, something similar happened where Batman was forced to kill Lois Lane by the Joker, and he did go crazy, and he took over the world. So Batman's not wrong. We're just very lucky that Superman isn't a dick, usually.
Yeah. Most of the world doesn't share your opinion, Mr. Wayne.
Maybe it's Gotham City and me.
Again, we're getting a good shot of this. Pretty positive that's Jason Todd's post Death in the Family Joker run-in. Probably dead or still not found. I don't know if they'll explore that in a Batman movie or something.
Well, he's either, I'm assuming, dead, and it wouldn't shock me if they brought him back as Red Hood at some point in the movies, if these movies are popular enough that they warrant a whole universe like the Avengers do.
I assume they will. But still, I still like that shot.
We just have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns.
That's a sweet Batman burn. What a
Yeah,
dick. I love when Bruce Wayne's a dick. That's one of the other things that I didn't like about... And again, I feel like I'm shitting on the Nolan movies. I'm not. I love the Nolan movies. But let's be real here. Batman's character is a complete asshole, and in none of the movies have they gotten across how big of a dick he's supposed to be. I hope in this movie he can have a little bit of fun. He can, be amicable towards the heroes when they're doing something together. But at the end of the day, he thinks he's right all the time, and he should kind of be a dick.
He almost always is right, which is kind of it. It makes it frustrating for the other heroes. Like him and Green Lantern get into it in the comics all the time, I believe, which is funny because Green Lantern's hilarious. But I just really like that. Yeah, he is an asshole. Like people who watch like the cartoons or read the comics, or even the video games, like Batman's a cock to Robin and everyone around him all the time.
Yeah.
He respects no one.
Okay, if he respects
it's
anyone...
respect, but it is respect, but it's like they're not me.
The closest he probably gets is adult Dick Grayson. Other than that, he affords respect to Superman eventually, but it's still there with a distrust. I think he respects what Superman's trying to do, more so than what he actually does, if that makes sense. I think he realizes that Superman is necessary, and he realizes that Superman's trying to do good, but I think he finds fault in his methods. But I don't know. It's interesting. He has an interesting relationship to the rest of the superheroes, for sure.
Boys! Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together. How are we?
Lex?
Hi, hello. Lex, it is a pleasure. Ow, wow, that is a good grip. You should not pick a fight with this person.
I like Jesse Eisenberg, and I like that he's kind of this high-pitched, cocky Lex instead of the dark, sort of deep-voiced macho man Lex.
See, here's what I think's happening. For one, I think if they tried to do that, it'd be a little too similar to Bruce and Clark. But I think what they're doing here, for one, I just think it's interesting. It's a different take on the character. But two, I think the idea is going to be that in public he puts on this facade of his own, of this kind of quirky, weird internet developer type person, basically a Mark Zuckerberg type person, but in private, and what we hear later, it sounds like he gets more his evil, more serious, I think I'm better than everyone else game face on, and this is more just an act he puts on to try and seem less threatening to people.
I agree. I think just because, based on his stature, he probably isn't taken as a serious threat.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. Lex has always been, for some reason in the cartoons, especially the Justice League cartoons that are more recent, he turned into this physical opponent, which was weird. Like, he could always handle himself in a fight, but I always felt like Lex that required technology to be effective was the better version.
Yeah, even the whole kryptonite suit thing, I understand why it's necessary sometimes to bring that into the conflict, because Superman is, I mean, it's Superman. How many times can you just outsmart him before you have to, punch him in the face? But, yeah, I prefer when he has to outthink him. I think it requires, for one, more creative writing, and two, I think it just makes for a more interesting opponent than just someone who can fight Superman with a suit on.
Right, exactly. Does Lex know, though, in this? Does he know?
I think he does. I think what the thing is, I think he distrusts Superman, and I think he intentionally is goading Batman on. I think he knows who they both are, and I think he's orchestrating the whole thing, and that's his intention. Because if you hear later in the trailer, he says, if man won't kill God, then the devil will do it. So I think his intention is to get to get Batman to try and fight Superman and kill him, but that fails, and that's why we get what we see later in the trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, that he definitely knows. Which is interesting if he knows. I mean, he will know later anyways.
I like the idea that Lex Luthor knows who they are. Lex Luthor is supposed to be one of the smartest people in the DC universe. It would make sense for him to figure that stuff out.
You know the oldest lie in America, Senator?
I do like that we're getting this look at the kind of the political ramifications of what happened in Man of Steel, because a lot of people bitched about, like, why is Superman fucking flying through the city and destroying everything? He's so bad at being a superhero. But that was kind of the point.
Yeah.
Like, when I watched this, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's exactly why he's doing it, because he was Superman for like 16 hours and he just killed his first person. And like ever, and it was the only link to the fucking planet he was actually from, and he murdered the guy. And it's like people have this weird idea of he's Superman, therefore he should be impervious to any sort of mistake. But he was only Superman for like half a day. Like, he put that blue suit on, and he's like, I guess I'm gonna try to fly now. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get
there's
what you're
no
saying.
reason he should have been good at that fight, and everyone gives him shit. And I think we're gonna explore like all the bad things that were caused because of him.
I know what you're saying. I still think it was a weird direction to take it, because at the end of the day, he still could have drug Zod somewhere else. He could have somehow gotten him out of the city, and instead the entire city got just decimated. It was insane. I understand they wanted this big, verbose Superman fight scene where everything gets destroyed, but you don't really need that. And from what we see later in this trailer, it looks like they're going for an even bigger CG, blow everything up climax, which I'm a little worried about, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
That power can be innocent.
I really like the new Batsuit design.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I really like it in action too. And actually, they put out like a 40-second teaser of that scene where Superman jumps down into the hole and then there's soldiers around. I think we're both pretty confident that's a dream scene.
Yeah, the toy line actually already came out, and it's called Nightmare Batman, but like spelled like night, like Dark Knight, because you can't just call it Nightmare Batman. He has to be
right.
Batman doesn't have nightmares; he has nightmares.
Right. So Batman is pretty much having a nightmare about Superman, and he gets his cowl taken off. But in that scene, he turns his head around, and you mentioned to me before I had even seen it, and then I watched it. You're totally right. It just looks right. It looks exactly how you'd want a cowl to look. It's not too rubbery. It's not too stiff. It just looks awesome.
That was one of the things I hit. Again, I'm harping on the Christopher Nolan movies. I promise I like those movie guys. But seriously, with the cowl in the Christopher Nolan movies, I always felt they looked a little too professional. They looked military grade. And I understand that was the premise, is that they were originally militarily designed, like the chest piece at least was, and then he had the mask designed. But I don't know, something about it felt very artificial to me, whereas this Batsuit looks weathered. It looks like something he has designed and used for years, and he's improved upon, but there's still battle scars, you know?
Yeah, it looks really nice. I also like the texture of the actual suit. It looks like protective Kevlar, but also very flexible, and it also makes him look intimidating. I don't know. I think they nailed it. And the ears on it aren't too long. It's just awesome.
I don't know. Whoever was the production designer on this and had a hand in, crafting the look of the universe, sure. I don't know why they didn't call them for the Joker, but god damn it, that's upsetting to me because this Batman, at least from how it looks, I could be wrong, maybe the movie will suck, but this Batman, it looks like it deserves just an amazing Joker, and as much as I trust Jared Leto as an actor, man, I'm gonna have to really look past that production design because how he looks is just so weird, and it doesn't look like that Joker and this Batman exist in the same universe to me.
I know.
Maybe
Totally
they'll figure out a way to make it more cohesive, but right now I'm trying to think, how do these two fit together?
Well, I think what we're seeing is the Suicide Squad version of Joker right now anyways. Mm-hmm. Which may be a little more over the top than the Joker he will be.
Maybe.
Because I can't see them having a scene together.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it's just the dichotomy of the two. It really depends on his delivery of lines and how he's written too. I mean, he could look over the top, and maybe he's just this fucking crazy, insane person. That would be. I mean, I'm not saying it won't be good. I'm just saying I agree with you. The production design of Joker is really weird.
You're gonna go to war.
Here's our short look at Alfred, who's Jeremy Irons. Yeah. He has really nice glasses and fashionable hair and some scruff.
I like Michael Caine as Alfred, though. That's one thing I really like from the Christopher Nolan films. I think Michael Caine made a great Alfred.
It was good Alfred, yeah. No, I like... Because Michael Caine came across as someone who actually loved Bruce.
Yeah.
Which is how Alfred is. Like, that's kind of the point. And I hope he can pull that off. But just based upon... It's so hard to have perfect Batman and perfect Alfred in a movie. Batman has to be this very standoffish asshole type of guy, but Alfred still has to love him anyways, but also respect him as an intellect.
See, I think...
Like the video games do a really, really great job of that.
I think the way to do it is have Batman be standoffish to pretty much everyone else except Alfred. Alfred is the one person he confides in. He's the one person who's been with him forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he can always override Alfred. He'll listen to Alfred, but if he disagrees with him, he'll tell him. But at the end of the day, I think Alfred is one of the very few people who's been with him since the beginning, and he is aware of that, and he's aware that he's put Alfred through so much shit. So at a certain level, if Batman respects anyone other than himself and older Dick Grayson, it's definitely Alfred.
Yeah. And Jeremy Irons is a really interesting cast. He's a really good actor, so I'm hoping that we get some good Alfred scenes out of the Batman standalone film.
That son of a bitch brought the war to us.
I like that line from Bruce Wayne talking about that son of a bitch brought the war to us. And he's holding a little girl next to the rubble of Wayne, looks like the Wayne Financial Building in Metropolis. And he's just watching the fight between Superman and Zod just going terribly and realizing fully, like, holy shit, this is a big problem that this person exists and is on the planet.
It makes me wonder how many, in this version of Batman, how many super villains has he really fought at this point? Because obviously the Joker's been a thing. They've implied the Riddler because there's been some graffiti of the Riddler. But, like, how many super-powered people has he fought? Because Superman's a big deal to him. Superman's
the most powerful being on the planet, even after everything's reached its apex.
So I understand.
No matter
how
who
big of a leap is this for him? Like, has he seen anyone else with powers before? Like, real powers?
Well, even if he's faced Ra's al Ghul, I assume it's more comic booky. Croc. I'm trying to think of Victor Freeze. Like, even his most powerful enemies in the Batman universe aren't even close to what Superman would be.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think regardless of where he's at in his timeline and the enemies he's faced, Superman is still like a holy shit moment.
You know you can't.
I like the armor now. I didn't like it at first, but it was kind of like a quick shot. And this one, you see it move. I dig it. It's all right. I've always liked, like growing up, Batman toys always had like alternate armor that you'd never ever see in an actual thing. But I dig this. It's okay. I don't hate it. It looks like it's a little beat up, like one of the ears is knocked off. I'm not crazy about the eyeballs. Or that it's all they went over it with CG. It looks like
they really did. We've talked about CG before, especially in our Jurassic World review. I'm very worried for the CG in this movie. In fairness, there's a couple months till it comes out, but please don't make the fights a big CG mess. The fights in Man of Steel were actually pretty good, despite the fact that they were mostly CG, and I understand why they have to be. It's Superman, duh. But
right.
I don't know. You got to make that stuff look convincing, or else it's just boring.
Yeah, I at least like the design of the bat armor, I guess. I don't know what to call it. And I don't know. I like to see it in action. I like that he can move quickly, though. Yeah. And we'll see a lot of that. All of the area, though, that they're fighting in looks pretty abandoned, from what I can tell.
Win this. It's suicide.
All of this, though, I don't know what that is. It looks like an island off of the city.
I hope
maybe
they
Arkham.
Don't do the same Man of Steel thing again and do complete destruction, because that would it seems like it would fly in the face of what we're going to be doing in this movie, which is defending Superman for the destruction of Metropolis.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, this looks abandoned because there's like a lot of foliage and like trees and shit, and then obviously there's shit on fire, and then the city is in the background. I think it's like, okay, let's fight here sort of situation. Is that it? There's a lot of brick though.
If I had to guess, maybe island with a Lex Luthor secret lab on it or something.
Something like that. Diana will show up in a second. Wonder Woman.
She can fly though, so she could have flown there.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, like, is this outside of Metropolis or Gotham?
Oh, good question. I would guess Gotham. I'll say Gotham, because I don't think they do 2 climaxes in a row in Metropolis.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, just because of the island nature of it.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world.
We just heard
Son of
Lex
Krypton versus Bat of Gotham.
I like that he knows he's the son of Krypton. I assume this will be after the hearing, so everyone will know that already. I wonder who he's talking to, though. It seems like it's going to be Lois Lane, based upon what we see later. And again, yeah, it does look like Gotham in the background right there. Also, because there's snow.
Yeah, you can see Wayne Tower in the background, actually.
Is that Wayne? Yeah, it is. Okay. And so is this, do you think it's Arkham? Like abandoned Arkham because everything's moved to the other prison?
Oh, maybe. That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting if in this movie they're on Arkham Island and that's where the final thing takes place. Maybe that's a secret laboratory now where Lex is doing some stuff. It gets destroyed here and then it gets rebuilt, and then in the next Batman movie or whatever, they'll deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we mentioned it in last time we looked at this, but Batman using his grappling hook in combat as a kind of way to move around is so Batman, and I'm so glad they did it. And you see right here, I mean, obviously the laser vision is about to hit him, and he just jumps away. That's just, it's cool. I like that. And it looks good, even though it is obviously CG. It just looks so Batman.
They have to intercut scenes like that with actual them on a set somewhere, because if it's just CG Batman fighting CG Superman for 15 minutes, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Because I could get a video game if I wanted to see that. This is a movie. You got actors, you built sets. Please use them. Please spend the extra money to make it worthwhile.
You're psychotic.
Is a 3-syllable word for any thought too big for little minds.
That makes me trust him as Lex Luthor a lot, as playing him, because that's a very Lex Luthor thing. He feels that his morality is above everyone else's because he's smarter than other people and he can think things through better, so he doesn't think their concerns are of any concern to him. Interesting.
Yeah, also he has a bandage on his hand. I don't know what that's from, but it looks like he punched something. It's over his knuckles.
Maybe.
It's time you learn what it means to be a man.
And then we get another nightmare sequence. These little flying dudes.
Yeah.
What are those from? Those look familiar, and I can't think of it.
They look like flying monkeys to me, but if you mean what are they actually from in the DC universe?
Is it from Darkseid? Are those Darkseid's people?
I have no idea.
I know it's supposed to be probably a dream sequence, but I'm pretty sure Darkseid has these little flying dudes, which would be interesting. And I know he's going to be in the series eventually.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Superman fan, so I don't know a lot about Superman. And Darkseid, primarily Superman villain, so no idea.
Fair enough. Still love this Nightmare Batman costume, though. It's great.
Stay down! If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
We got the longer bit of that uncowling of Batman in the sneak peek where it was about 40 seconds and it was uncut.
It's super impressive how every time Batman removes his mask, somehow the eye makeup magically disappears.
I was going to mention that because in in the longer cut, he's clearly got the eye makeup on, and then his head gets pulled down, and then the cowl comes off, no eye makeup. I thought they were going to keep it.
What I heard is people make the argument that it looks weird to have, like, raccoon eyes. Well, don't do raccoon eyes. Here's what you do to make it realistic. You do sort of a line across his eyes instead of, like, just two circles. I think that'd look fine if they took off the mask and he had, a line across his eyes, but whatever.
Or kind of like the top part was war paint, because football players do that kind of shit all the time.
Sure.
But right before that, Superman basically says, we have to stop this. If I wanted to kill you, I would have already. And I think that's an important line for people who are like, Batman should not be able to fight Superman. Because he probably shouldn't be able to be at this point. Because the Justice League isn't a thing yet. He doesn't have the technology necessary, probably, to actually defeat Superman. But I also like the idea that Superman holds back.
I think that's the biggest deal. The thing that... if Superman were just kind of a dick and didn't care, Batman would have died a long time ago, so...
Yeah.
If man won't kill God,
The devil will do it.
What have you done?
And there he is. Okay,
and there's
so...
Doomsday.
Doomsday is going to be in this movie. Couple things I have to say about it.
I like that Doomsday will be in this movie.
I like that he's going to be in this movie, too. I wish they would have kept it secret. I mean, obviously it would have gotten out at some point, but and I figured there was going to be some bad guy in this movie coming out. You know what I mean? Sure. I assumed at the end of the movie, third act, some bad guy would come out and that would make them, team up. But come on, right. Why you got to show me that in the trailer? Seriously? Not only that, but again, we have a big CG bad guy that they're going to fight. I'm very against the big bad boss at the end of movies being CG because generally it looks like a video game. And also, this thing, Doomsday, something about its face is wrong. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but
a lot of people
just
keep saying it looks like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles remake with Michael Bay.
It really does, though. If you compare them side by side, something about the faces, it just doesn't look right. It looks poorly made. So I'm not.
That's kind of what he looks like, though. Like that's the look. And I think if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles didn't come out, no one would say, oh,
No, they're better. They're much better.
It would still look a little off, but that's just kind of like he usually has a spike beard.
Even in Justice, the video game, which, again, it's a 3D modeling, so even though it's less detailed, you can draw inspiration from it. That had a better Doomsday design. So,
sure, I'm not crazy about it. I mean, I probably would have gone with a more, I don't know, he kind of looks very, very like Abomination.
Yeah, he looks like he does. That's exactly what he looks like. He looks like Abomination from Incredible Hulk, which he shouldn't look like. He's a more distinctive villain than that, and I think he deserves a better model, at least for the face. The body looks fine. He is just a big muscular monster, so that's fine. Yeah. But the face,
I do like the spikes. There's not enough spikes.
The face needs more personality. He looks just like a big monster, and I think someone like Doomsday deserves a more expressive face.
It was the spike beard that we're missing.
Sure.
But not a lot of people know. Apparently, this is going to be like some sort of... It's either reanimated Super Zod, which would be weird, but whatever you want to do, it doesn't really take away from it necessarily. So it could... Michael Shannon is cast in this. I don't know if he's just the corpse, but it kind of looks like mocap Michael Shannon.
I think what it's going to be is it's going to be a clone, because that's the original origin of Doomsday, is they took cells from Superman and cloned him and did some stuff to it, and it turned into Doomsday. So I assume
that's not true. Oh, the original Doomsday was a random Kryptonian scientist was trying to do eugenics. And he was trying to make the perfect warrior or some shit.
Oh, was it? At some point I thought they did a Project Cadmus thing.
He puts a baby on this on this planet, and it keeps dying over and over and over and over and over.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I knew
and
that.
The genetic suffering that it caused is remembered. So by the time it gets to this point, it hates like life itself, including all Kryptonians. And he goes around and just murders the fuck out of everything. And it finally takes like a planet of people to combine into one thing. It's called the Radiant, and the Radiant has to kill him with a huge blast of energy. And then eventually he gets to Earth and tries to kill Superman and does successfully. But yeah, it's just a lot of stuff to go through to pick which Doomsday you want to do.
No, you're totally right. For some reason, I was confusing it with another storyline. That's my B. See, this is why I think there's gonna be a good balance, because I think it'll be dark enough, but yeah, it's okay for Batman to be like, ah, shit. Well, you know what I mean? Like, that, yeah.
The effect on the shield is really good, because there's Diana, Wonder Woman, saving the day, which means she's watching or something, or maybe she was already there. I don't know at what point this takes place.
I kind of wish they hadn't. Again, this is sort of a spoiler. That would have been a cool moment in the theater if you didn't know it was going to happen. Her appearing here as Wonder Woman, probably for the first time, and saving them. That would have been cool, but now I know what's going to happen, and I even know the quip they're going to make afterwards, so it's like, well, that moment's kind of ruined now.
Yeah, I think being a little more under wraps would be interesting, but still, I like that she looks good.
Yeah, she definitely looks good. What concerns me more is the big CG background.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
Yeah, I like the Batman voice because it's clearly not him doing a voice.
Oh, thank God. Seriously,
you know
I was
what I mean?
so
It's just
worried.
modulated, and that's so fine.
It's perfect. It's the right amount of Batman where it's not too crazy, but it's definitely changed. Also, what a good shot of Batman right here. You can see kind of the look they're going for. You can see it in motion. Obviously not now because it's paused, but you get what I'm saying. It looks just perfect.
I agree. It's also interesting to me, do they have different cowls for each emotion that he's supposed to be conveying?
Or, because of the eyebrows, is that what you're saying?
Well, because the eyebrows are different, and or does it like, is it kind of got like this animatronic action to it, like where it would change? I don't know which way they're going with it. Either way, it looks great.
It might just have flexibility in the eyebrows, where like if he makes expressions, it can express a little bit.
That's such a cool shot.
Yeah, there you have your Justice League Trinity.
Yeah, that's great. And some people were bitching about the fact that Batman has a gun here. It's probably not a regular gun, guys. It's probably,
well, it wouldn't even make sense for him to have a gun if he's fighting Superman. It's probably a grapple or something, or has like Kryptonian or kryptonite bullets or something.
It's definitely not a 12 gauge
no.
or an AR-15. You know what I mean? Like, he's not just going around capping fools. It's definitely some sort of tech. It's Batman. He just doesn't do that. I really love that shot though, and I like the idea that they are forced to team up in the middle of a thing they were already doing.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't look like Batman and Superman were fighting each other at that point because he's no longer in the armor.
Yeah, I would guess they might have at that point come to sort of a consensus and decided we have to go after Lex, and then when they went after him, he released Doomsday, and that's where we end up here. Again, this trailer is basically kind of a Cliff Notes version of what the movie's gonna be, so.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the trailer. Again, like I said, the trailer itself is kind of weird, but I do like what I see for the most part. I'm not completely worry-free, but I am still pretty excited, so that's good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good movie. I don't think it's going to be great. Like, I don't think we're going to get an Avengers out of it, but I do think it's going to be good enough to make us watch the next one, which is all they want, and all I need, really. But the standalone Batman movie has to be good. That's the one that this all hinges on. And also, I think like Aquaman needs to be good because Aquaman's a tough sell.
I'm more excited for Suicide Squad than I am for this movie, because this movie is going to be pretty paint-by-numbers action superhero team-up movie. Don't get me wrong, I love Batman, like Superman, like Wonder Woman, and I'm excited to see them on the screen again, especially these new versions of them, but I think we all pretty much know what we're going to get. Suicide Squad and some of their other projects coming up, where they have a little more leeway to do things differently, I'm a little more interested in that, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm interested that they're taking the opposite of the Marvel approach. They're starting with the team up and then doing individual movies. We'll see if it works. I don't know. They might just be playing catch up, and it might shoot them in the foot.
It may. I just Doomsday eventually kills Superman.
Yeah.
Which leads into this really, really neat storyline. So I'm hoping that they explore that in the standalone Superman movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that's a way to do a Superman movie without having to do Superman. Because he can get boring just based upon the fact that he is borderline unkillable.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things. Like, he's got the most plot armor.
Superman...
Even Batman can be hurt and broken. You know what I mean?
Some people are going to really hate me for saying this, but I think Superman works better as a plot device than he does as a character. He can move plots forward, he could be an adversary, he can die and inspire people, but when the focus is on him, it's just not as interesting. Usually. I'm sure there are exceptions, and I'm sure there are very good Superman books. He wouldn't have been around this long if there weren't, but I think he works better...
The Darkseid stuff will be good.
Yeah, probably.
Because Darkseid is another one of those that... He's on the level of Superman.
Yeah.
And Doomsday was pretty much designed to be able to kill this sort of thing. So those are like the two.
Yeah.
So and they're doing both of them.
They can't,
probably because Superman's so tough to write.
The only other one would be Bizarro, but they're never going to do Bizarro in a movie because Bizarro's to a non-initiated comic book person, it's basically Superman versus retarded Superman. And I don't think they would do that.
Yeah, it's super weird. I am excited about the Batman stuff moving forward, though. The design's really cool. I think the casting is perfect, and I think he just gets it. I don't know if Affleck was a Batman fan. I mean, most people are, but I mean, as far as like an actual fan where he knows things about the character, but it looks like he's playing him perfectly. I really like Wonder Woman. I'm not a Wonder Woman fan. I grew up reading comics. She just always came across as this really boring one note, we have to do the right thing character, which was super boring. Like even Superman sometimes had moments where he was like, I need to kill this person but don't want to. We're gonna get the Flash probably. We're gonna get a Green Lantern. And Aquaman is cast in this film.
Yep.
So he's gonna be there as well. I don't know if he's gonna be at the end or something, but he should be in there. So they're throwing every card they have on the table for this DC universe they're doing. So hopefully it's good.
I hope the studio didn't seize creative control and start meddling to try and say, well, we need to beat Marvel, so we need this, and this. Here's your checklist. Do it.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing that'll kill this movie, is if it was interfered with too much and they kind of said, well, it's a superhero movie, so we need this kind of scene, and then this kind of scene, and then this kind of scene, and then it comes together, and it's, they say that a camel is a horse built by committee. I hope this movie isn't a camel.
Yeah, so that's it.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so thanks everyone. If you want, you can always check us out on Twitter @TheRealUnpop.
You can always subscribe and check out more of our movie and or trailer reviews.
You'd always help out the channel by donating to our Patreon campaign. Other than that, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this has been Unpopular Culture, looking at Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.